call the Western Reserve Local Schools Board of Education meeting to order. And can we have roll call, please?
Richard Blevins.
Present.
Melissa Potts.
Present.
Brian Benyo.
Present.
Mark Halls. Lisa Powell.
Present.
Let us stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, back to the agenda, Treasurer's recommendations, starting with item number 1. It is recommended that the minutes of the June 24, 14 regular meeting of the Board of Education be approved as mailed to each member in advance of the meeting.
Second.
Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
Mr. Blevins.
Yes.
Mrs. Potts.
Yes.
Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
It is recommended that the June 24, 2014 financial reports be approved, the June listing of bills be approved as mailed to each member in advance of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Blevins.
Yes.
Mrs. Potts.
Yes.
Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
Number 3, it is recommended that the district's insurance policy for 2014-15 school year, prepared by Midwest Trumco Insurance Agency, Ohio School Plan, be approved at a cost of $45,297.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mrs. Potts.
Yes.
Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
Mr. Blevins.
Yes. Okay, next item on the agenda, Superintendent's recommendations. It is recommended that the Western Reserve Local Schools policy and plan for the identification and service of children who are gifted be approved.
So moved.
Mrs. Potts.
Yes.
Mrs. Powell.
Yes.
Mr. Benyo.
Yes.
Mr. Blevins.
Yes. Number 2, it is recommended to authorize the athletic director to hire athletic workers as necessary in between board meetings.
So moved. Second.
These are some changes that are in process from the state, that all the workers that we hire to keep scorebook for junior high games, ticket takers, working the press box football games, running the clock, all that kind of stuff, have to be hired and paid through payroll
It's the IRS.
instead of paid out of the
Budget.
just out of the budget, athletic budget. So actually 2, 3, and 3.
Yes.
Oh. So it's not a new
Sleep
that
tonight.
we've always hired them, it's just we...
Yeah, we've had, and the list of names on there are people who in the past, and that's, we just
So if there's
included
like somebody
them.
like a Joe Schmo wants to come in and do it, you can then
Yeah.
add him and doesn't be a board.
I think that we're going to have Paulette keep it like she keeps the substitute lists, certified, classified, athletic. And then that way, even next
So you have a
year,
record of everything.
we don't have to hire Denise again, or we don't
Okay.
have to hire Jennifer again.
That's a good idea.
We'll just
Check
keep
them out.
it.
Yeah.
Do we have to, by policy, identify them by name from the board standpoint? Does the board just grant that to the AD, given the nature of the hire?
I believe we do, because of the fact that that now goes through payroll.
They actually have to
and
be
not-
hired.
Yeah,
Policy requirement.
yeah, taxes withheld and that whole...
Wow.
And it used to be, in a pinch, Jeff Marty would find somebody in the hall that was staying after practice, hey, you want to run the clock for a junior high game? Or,
Like $25.
I know he had done it
Which was the best thing.
in some ways as a fundraiser for some of the groups, like cheerleaders. I think cheerleader moms did the tickets for football games, and then they would donate that money to
He
the
is
cheerleaders.
still going to do that.
He's able to do that, but it has to go through.
Right.
But a couple of moms A always have to different get system, hired. though, and- right?
It has to go through the activity fund, so it will be paid directly to the cheerleaders or the basketball
And as you
team.
see in number 3, not getting ahead, but we're going to waive the local requirement to have them their BCI and FBI background checks, because that would be...
Is this coming Where's the requirement coming from?
IRS,
But I mean, you can 1099 somebody up to...
which is what we used to do.
Right.
They want everybody on payroll.
For like a liability?
I would rather do it the way that we were doing
I
it.
just...
It's a lot less
their
work.
Contract.
So this is...
This was actually supposed
Were
to
we
start,
contacted directly from the
It
IRS?
was supposed to be done last year, I think.
we were supposed to start it last year. And
Is it like a liability reason?
No,
it's the IRS wants their taxes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, off of
I
that.
mean, how much money are we talking about? I mean, is there anybody
Some
who's
people
over
might like to work
550?
2 hours or...
Oh, yeah, I mean, in most cases, probably
I think
$15 to
we-
$25 a game per person.
I think
something.
last year we had maybe 3 people that probably received a 1099.
How many?
3.
That's what I would guess.
I mean, it's not,
So, again, who's initiating the contact?
the IRS is coming to our seminars and telling us this is what we have to do. Most schools have already switched over.
The whole
If you
state
don't
of
want me
Ohio.
to,
Whole country.
we don't
The
have
whole country
to.
has to do it.
The auditors will eventually bring it to our attention, I would imagine.
I mean, it's going to be a huge administrative hassle to keep all those records. Can we table it for a month? And I'd like to recommend we table it for a month. And
I know,
then
or,
we investigate this further with our accounting firm.
Need a motion for that?
Yes.
Brian, you making a motion?
Yes. Motion that we table the item and bring it up in next month's meeting.
Is there something that I can find out specific for you, other
Yeah, if
than...
there's anything specific,
I mean,
contact
I've called-
the state school board and see what
As
specific...
per like amount earned per
what's-
year,
yeah, what
or if there's a
specific
max
aspect of
minimum
that
amount
code
earned.
is compelling us to do this.
Okay. Who's second? To table?
I will, with my, Ms. Secret.
We probably don't need to do, we won't even do 3.
So why don't we just forget about 3 and 4 then?
Yeah, that'd be 2, 3, and...
2, 3, and 4.
two,
Just table it all.
Well, 2.
Now-
We-
We're supposed to,
Well,
3A
2 and
and
3.
3B. Let's make it 3A and 3B.
I guess
Yeah, that makes sense.
my question would be, how early is our August board meeting going to be? Because when does football start?
Either way, you're mid-year in the tax year, I mean, you got a mess no matter what you do here. When you
True.
started, I don't think is really...
Yeah, we won't
Okay.
have any, if we go with the second Thursday again, if we get back on that, I believe that's the 14th. And we won't have any games starting until
28th, I want to say, is the
the
first
first
game. The Thursday is the
varsity
first.
game, there
Okay.
might be a junior
If in
high.
the meantime, we wanted to go ahead and collect data on these individuals that are necessary to get it in place, there's no harm in asking them to fill the forms out.
Fill out the application. That's all we're going to make them do is an
Yeah,
application.
that's true too.
I mean,
Okay. Oh, yeah, this is nuts.
we kind of...
Oh, it's one of those things that drive you crazy because
But
you
it's
think...
going to put a big spotlight on us if we're one of the only schools not doing it.
That
Well,
was my fear.
and the auditors,
As I
the other
called
thing is
every
that
other
they'll get-
district,
yeah.
and they said, oh, we did this 2 years ago.
Yeah.
If the county auditors are going to look
I
for
mean, if
that,
everybody's doing it, we've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the situation? They're really...
I would not
believe
have
that's the
brought it
case.
to you.
Yeah.
I would not have put myself through this if that wasn't the
Yeah.
case.
another one of
But
those things that they
I did
want us
not
to
Pay 'em
do.
out of a-
I did not
you can't pay 'em
contact-
out of a fund, somebody's donated money into that fund.
That's how we did, basically, out of the athletic fund.
Yeah.
Oh, and it was nice to let the kids work. I mean, my kid was one of them. It was nice. I did not contact our attorney and ask him
And now we'll have to be 18.
or the state,
We won't do anything.
but I did contact our
Yeah, they think I'm
local
doing it.
You
district.
haven't reached out to some others yet, it's just, I've never...
Yeah, other schools are doing it.
Age limit?
So,
Is there an age limit on this?
Out of school.
Oh, you have to be out of school to do this. You can't be,
I'm
like 16, you're
I'm
able to work
saying
with.
on.
Yeah, work permit.
Yeah, so wouldn't they had a
Oh
work
well,
permit when they
yeah.
were 16?
Then it would just.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because you
you're
can get a
right.
work permit
So
at
does
the
You
it
age
can
of
get a work
16.
younger than that, I think. As
Just
long
to
as they
cover it,
fill out the
I would have to file a
application.
work permit to attach to their applications we have to. I mean, I know it's killing
The part that
forest,
kills
but-
is that you're taking taxes out of a small amount of money already.
So they're not going to get very much anyway.
So, we can find out more.
Yeah,
It's
we'll get some more
okay.
information.
Yeah.
I have
wait
no
one more
problem.
month.
Because
Once you make that switch, and then you're going back.
right.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have to.
And like you said, it is going to be a lot.
I'll talk to our accounting firm and run this past them and get some feedback.
And we can check with the auditors too, probably. I'll see if I catch our
See if
meeting
they're
tomorrow.
gonna, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
See if they're instructed to look for it.
State School Board Association.
I mean, it could be one of those things that the IRS came into every seminar we had and just put a scare in so many people that they just did it.
Well, I think the question is what threshold are they looking for?
We are one of the only schools, I will say this, that I found this out, we are one of the only schools that does have students doing more work than adults. Most of the schools have a rotation of adults who have been approved by the board and they know they're working this, and this.
What wage would it be?
I don't know.
I think it's like one flat fee, isn't it, per game? I think it's
Typically,
20
yeah.
$20 a game.
Oh,
Set
ours?
schedule.
Yeah.
Yes.
it's-
I thought you meant other schools. I don't know what other
15
schools
to $20
Right.
an
Depending, I know like the
event.
track meet events are different than.
Yeah, some
football.
things that are longer, like
Yeah.
a
That'd be
varsity
the
foot.
next issue you're going to have is minimum wage.
Yeah,
That's what I mean, they can't work.
it's almost one of those, do you
I
ask
would
or
like
not?
That exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we can do that.
We'll dig.
If they're employees, you're going to end up having to pay.
Retirement.
Let's go get
change.
mine.
Mhm. Oh, yes.
Okay.
So how do we want to handle 3 and 3A?
You don't really have to table them.
Do we have to table them?
We don't have to, we just don't take any action.
Yeah, because we had
Right.
discussed the first one,
So
number
we'll
2.
just-
All right, so move on to number
Move
4
on to
then.
number 4, which is actually number 5 or 3B or C or what do you want to call it here?
Number 4 is number 4.
Number 4 is, that's right, number 4 is
We're good?
number 4.
All right.
This is
we good?
3A, or 3B.
All right. Number 4 on the agenda is where we're at. It's recommended that the agreement with Viking Water be approved at a cost of $600 per year.
This is a service agreement. 4 times a year, they'll come out, they'll check the water conditioner, water softeners, make sure that they're working accurately, test the water for hardness, for various minerals. It's a little different than the testing that I do of the water. And like I said, for 4 times a year, I don't really have the knowledge to make sure the water softeners are all cycling properly and all that, and they'll do that 4 times a year and do some tests on the water. I think it's wise with if you haven't ever seen, we'll have to take you on a tour sometime, but in the old building there, we have 3 large softener units and a chlorination unit, and he would just make sure all of that's working right, the pump. It doesn't cover any repairs or services, but, it's just a good check to make sure those things are functioning properly.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benio?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
And that is the company that had done the testing from the get-go, too. So it's the same guy, he knows the system and knows what's in there. And he was kind of doing that out of a warranty period, and that's expired. And I just felt it would be a good service to continue to make sure those are working properly.
Okay, we're going to move to the superintendent's recommendations on the addendum. Number 1, it is recommended that Jennifer Hood be hired as the girls' golf coach for 2014-15 as per the salary schedule in effect.
This was the girl that we talked about at the last meeting that had played in high school and in college, and she's ready to get going. I believe there's 7 or 8 girls that are on the girls' golf team. So,
And Teresa still stays for boys, right?
yes.
Great.
Yep.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
It is recommended that Jason Cochran be hired as an assistant varsity football coach for 2014-15 school year as per the salary schedule in effect pending all required paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Number 3, it is recommended that Kaylin Mowry be hired as the 7th grade volleyball coach for 2014-15 school year as per the salary schedule in effect, pending all required paperwork.
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Benyo?
Yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes. And Kathy, do I turn this back to you then? For the,
These are the quotes that we received for the natural gas.
the next page?
Our contract expires August 31st, so we need for September 1st. IGS submitted 2 different quotes to 2 different brokers?
Yeah, we're independent brokers, both of us are.
Okay. that's why
IGS
they're-
represent, IGS has their own people. They take care of accounts that are probably about 20 times your size. And this account size is generally taken care of by independent representatives such as myself and the other gentleman who's provided a proposal.
So these are two quotes using IGS for natural gas?
Yes.
One's coming from you?
Yes.
And one's from another gentleman, is that?
Right, another agency, representing agency that represents IGS.
So I'm confused. Why are
Why are we
the 2
doing the
different
heroin?
quotes?
Pardon, please?
Well, these are just the quotes.
Right, why do we have 2 different
We're
ones?
not accepting any one of these.
Right.
I would, with just getting back today, with our contract not up to the end of August, I'd like to maybe table this or wait until August to get some more information on this, because I haven't got a chance to look at any of this. And our contract's not up till the end of August, but if there's questions, I'm sure this gentleman can
I'm just
There is a problem with tabling. When your contract is up under the PUCO rules, when you're at your size range, which is basically Dominion Choice, you have to basically initiate. If you stay with the same supplier, there isn't an issue. But if you're looking to change suppliers, there it is an issue. After August 10th, everyone would have to quote who is not a current supplier an October 1st start versus a September 1st start. The only person who could quote you the September 1st start is the incumbent or the existing supplier. It's not rules that we set up as a group or anything else. It's what the Public Utilities Commission has basically said.
Direct Energy is who we have currently.
Say that again.
Direct Energy.
Direct
No.
energy.
So explain to me again why you have 2 quotes.
That's
It's not common, but it happens sometimes. IGS normally tries to stay with one vendor. I've been the vendor for this school, except for the last 2-year term, since 2003. Initially through First Energy, then Hess, then now IGS. They try to keep it down to one to minimize the questions that you're... But this time they basically erred. I'm not sure what the price difference are, but the price differences strictly come to what one wants to make in margin for his own company. I have a regular company. The other person has his own company, and the differences in prices are strictly on what I deem as a required margin for my company.
This is the broker representative. Your opinion of the pricing seems to indicate at this point a sideways move in the market.
Yeah, if you look at the 2-year, the 2-year is a little bit higher, but by the way we price, it's pretty much been sideways, and all the contracts probably for the last 2 or 3 months have been, the 1 year and the 2 year have been the same. We see out in the 3rd year an increase in the market, but only, that's too far out to even guess at this point. But if you wanted to do a 3-year contract, the pricing is there for us to do a 3-year contract.
Do you know what our current rate is?
4.21.
Yeah, I mean,
That was a 2-year contract.
4.21, you said?
my recommendation would be a 2-year contract. It's just a matter at that point. Now, the low bid at this point is here today. Your indications are for us to make a move and make the switch effective for when our
A September
contract...
1st start, September billing cycle.
We would need, if we move now ahead of the August 10th change date, we avoid that issue.
You avoid it. What happens is that your existing supplier, if the board meets in August and your existing supplier is not successful, you'll have 1 month without a contract.
So we'll roll under basically.
You go under the existing company's rules as to what we call auto renewal, and that's not really specified in anybody's contract, but you can allow the contract to lapse. If you didn't meet ever on this, you'd get a price as to what their auto renewal pricing is, which isn't based on anything. Ours aren't based on anything in particular either. But the other choice you'd have is to notify your existing supplier that at the contract end you wish to be turned back to Dominion East Ohio, and you would be Dominion's customer at the NYMEX Plus that's determined in April this year, and I'm not sure what their plus rate is at this point, but you'd be getting that automatically. There's a lot of nuances. The PUCO, when they deregulated this, made it harder rather than easier.
Can we vote to let you make the choice after the rest of it? If you know to get the best price?
Yeah, because
once you
it's your
know
That's what I did the past.
Okay,
This is my investigation.
Yeah, I mean, these are
Because
the
if you need to make
prices
the,
that
if we don't decide today, so
Yeah,
you can make the call
comfortable with that.
before.
Do you feel comfortable with that?
Now, because like I said, this is the first we've really talked
Okay.
about it. Understanding those situations, and like I said, with 25 cents, 28 cents,
So you're good to let us proceed, or what do you want to do?
I think, yeah, if you guys are okay with that. And like Brian, you suggested 2 years. Is that what you-
I don't, the avoidance of risk, likelihood of it going down, I just don't, the 2 years is it.
It's a good week, totally.
So now, as far as in the minutes, how are you going to
Yeah, you're going to identify
specify
that
which, because you have two, at the bottom there it says a contract.
as represented by.
Yeah, we have to
by
put, I would put his name down.
Your
yeah.
contract would have IGS's name on it only, not mine or
But
my
as far as
company's.
in our minutes, because we have IGS, two
Be
prices.
awarded to IGS Energy through
At the-
a representative named Steve Johnson, his company, Advanced Mill Products.
Just to clarify what's
Right.
between the
Right,
two.
I
And
understand.
that's the 449,
Right, and that's for 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah, and that'll be a single bill to you. You'll get a single bill from Dominion East Ohio that'll have IGS's name on it.
So,
Second, yeah.
Mr. Daniel?
yes.
Mr. Blevins?
Yes.
Mrs. Potts?
Yes.
Mrs. Powell?
Yes.
I will email you the contracts in the morning, first thing.
Yes.
I need them put back as quickly as possible.
Not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you for
appreciate it.
coming. Doug, you're up.
I'll just give you an update on where we're at with the building. Currently, we are finished with the elementary wing. It's all done, every classroom. And what we've done this year, we organized them in a team of 3, so they're working together as 3. They have a list of everything they have to do in every room, so every room's being cleaned the same way. from walls to lights. They have to take the lights out, everything, clean everything off. So we finished the elementary wing this week. Right now we're done with the middle school wing. Just finished up today. We're moving on to the high school. They're partway down the high school already today. So we should be out of there probably by first of next week. Dave is currently in the main gym. He stripped everything. He repainted all the white in that gym, and he's currently finishing, putting the third coat on today of the finish, so that'll be done. And then no one can go in there actually till Monday, 21st, they'll be able to go back in the gym. So that's all done. With Dave doing it and working through Real Supply, from hiring a company, we've saved about $8,000 doing it ourselves. So it's considerable savings doing it ourselves. The cleaning crew, this summer we have Joe Sanafani, Karen Barbone, Sandra Powell, and then when one is out, Mert Slough has been filling in to keep the crew at 3, so that we're getting everything done at a quicker pace. So we'll be ready to make sure all the halls are done next, and then guys coming to clean carpets this week, so that'll be finished, and then we'll finish these rooms off. But they're moving along pretty well. Ed's working outside, working on when he can between raindrops, and also doing floors. So we've done something different with the floors. We purchased that new machine this year. We're in the process of getting all that wax we used last 2 years out of the floor, because that's the yellowing factor that you have in the floor. And that'll take, probably by next year at this time, that should all be out with the new scrubbers and stuff like that. So things have been going well from that standpoint. Debbie is getting ready for round 2 of the 21st of the kindergarten camp. Basically, the kids will be back in for round 2. That was a 3-week program that the kids came in with Amanda Whippo and Jen McDonald did the program with the kids, work with them in the mornings. And they're starting again next week on the 21st for 3 weeks. And that's all. That's it. Other than that, it's been a quick summer so far.
Thank you.
I believe in your packets, Debbie had prepared a review from the OAA and the OGT text. Excuse me. Quite a bit of information there. It gives you some of the grades on the new report card that will be coming out and show where we are on some of those based on the test scores. All in all, looks pretty good, and you can look through that at your leisure and see quite a bit of information in that packet. But identified some areas and has looked at the scores very closely as far as explanations or justifications for what some of those areas are and what improvements we need to be looking at, and we're focusing on that already for next year. So really a nice thorough job on that. And as I said, look through it. Feel free to ask any questions as they come up.
2 pages basically are our goals of what we want to accomplish next year with the staff. To try and improve a few of those scores. We're going to do a lot of cross-curriculum stuff with them again, and throw writing as a process into every subject, and then reading across the curriculum. So we're going to do some teaming to help them improve reading at every subject as well as writing.
Yeah, surprisingly our writing scores dropped, which is usually a strength. I'm not sure how much of it changed with some of the scoring that they were looking for. We didn't really change much in our curriculum, but certainly based on these scores we need to make some adjustments, and we are preparing for that. And that'll be some things that we'll cover with our in-service days coming up in August with the staff to break them out.
Jeff said it's the first year they made some changes in what they wanted out of the writing, and because it was the first year, no one really knew what was going to hit you. So we're making adjustments to that, and then go from there.
This is really good. Did Debbie put this together? This is really good.
It looks like science.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she does. She's good.
She gets into it. When her
Yeah,
kids are,
you can tell.
She comes up here.
There's like a lot of passion in here. I mean, you can tell. It's
When Tony
really
gets
good.
home from work, she comes up here.
Comes to us over midnight, right?
I also have a copy of the 6 to 12 handbook with some of the revisions. I believe, are these highlighted in this
No, I have
copies?
those.
Okay. not much changes. Is there anything in particular?
You said 6 to 12. What about like dress code? Are you changing shorts? Can they wear elastic waisted shorts?
That is crazy.
I mean,
No, I didn't change this.
can we talk about that? Because I mean, I think
It's
it's,
an odd ruling, it really is, because if they're going to get pants, they're going to get pants.
yeah. I mean, I think it's,
You know?
yeah. Having a chubbier kid, I don't want to really put that on. So I remember killing me.
Hey,
But
I'm with her, though.
yeah.
We had a huge transition into 6th grade.
I mean,
To go to elastic, like athletic shorts
athletic
or?
shorts, yeah. How do you feel about that?
Well, the difficulty with that is when you look at, and I'm obviously in no way, shape, or form any authority on fashion, but where do the yoga pants come in? Where do the sweatpants come in? And that's the difficulty, is when you try to put something in black and white and specify, because anybody can read into it then. And, you know, I used to always go by some type of a snap, buckle, clasp, something. Well, then they start making sweatpants with a elastic waist and a snap. So it makes it very difficult to try to come up with wording that satisfies some of that.
How is this worded now? Let's see.
I believe if it's the way it used to be, it's something to do with the
Shorts and
attachment of the
skirts,
waist.
dresses.
I mean, it's on page.
It's an odd,
Page two.
Yeah, but the thing that I'll say is you know, athletic shorts are far more casual than denim, and the shirts are like we want to wear with athletic shorts aren't going to be the same. I understand the issues.
Yeah.
I appreciate it does present some challenges, but yet.
Well, I know the young ones, you know,
I mean, they were allowed to wear them up until,
5th grade.
well, I think
Yeah.
that's for restroom
exactly.
ease.
Agreed,
You know, that kind of thing for the little ones.
Agreed.
And I think that's where we've kind of, and there was a time when it was at the middle school that they were still allowed to wear that when they were at the middle school. And then you bring them here and they're all in the same building and, you know, well, that kid can wear that. And kids, when they see one person wearing something, you know, I'll have a kid come to me, had surgery, had a mole removed from their stomach. Can I wear sweatpants today? Sure, go ahead. The next day, there's 3 other kids because they saw that one wear sweatpants. Or somebody wears sandals. They had foot surgery, or you know, whatever. And it's part of trying to keep that all in a controlled fashion.
We had a couple problems last year when we had athletic short days. Some kids wearing short athletic shorts.
Yeah.
And stuff. Now, I mean, I see some of these girls, and I can't believe what they wear at school. And the heel size and all that stuff, they can hardly walk down the hall.
And the problem is, as Jeff said, and as Brian said, so you have kids who go beyond the line, and the next day you got 5 of them.
You
the
get
next
that with
day.
everything now, but, okay, just checking. I only have one more year to worry about that, but, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, there were very few challenges. Last year we revised the
He does. I know. I like him. He likes them, but I mean, I just was reaching out to some of the other ones coming up along the path.
The first year was my 6th grade year for any of the kids,
Yeah.
because I know last year was my
Yeah.
going into 6th grade. It's a big
That's the
transition.
big.
Because they like to wear the underarm. You know,
They do.
And I think a lot of them look nicer in the
And I do. I
stretchy
think
than
they look-
Yeah.
You know,
They make the boys' athletic shorts really nice.
It's the fashion that,
Yeah.
and I swear these fashion companies and designers get school dress codes from all over the country and look at them and say, well, okay, this style seems to be something that's not listed in here. Let's make our
Right.
pants, let's make our shirts, their tops,
Right.
you know, the whole bit. And we've tried to keep, I'm not even sure what yoga pants are, but I just know they're kind of tight and they're, should be worn in school.
Right.
And stretch pants this year in there, because some of
Get
the girls
by,
wear,
And sweatpants to you and I are totally different to the kids today, you know.
Right.
And stretch pants aren't what they used to be. They're
Right.
really stretch pants. And yoga
There's
pants.
not much stretch in the stretch.
No.
Right.
And a couple other things
Just what it is.
A couple of other additions I put in for, based on our attorney, we put in with bullying on the buses to cover that.
Good.
So that's on there as well. So that was an addition. We just revised everything pretty much last year, so there aren't a whole lot of, other than a word here, a word there, much revision from that standpoint.
Thank you. It's time for me. Thank you.
The other thing I wanted to mention too, with he mentioned Dave and Ed with the maintenance. We kind of broke the maintenance into various areas based on their expertise, their comfort, what they knew. For example, Dave is in charge of all the flooring. And I tell you, he really knows what he's doing in that gym. And when you see just the difference in the paint, and if you recall from any basketball games, the white paint, and it just looked atrocious. And, he's just done a great job. He's kind of a wheeler dealer. Since we bought the materials from Real Supply, he told the salesman, okay, we're buying this stuff from you, you come out and help do the floor. So Bill Wagenhauser's been out doing the floor.
Good. That's all right. Wow, that's okay.
Ed has some experience with landscaping. He enjoys the mowing, so we've kind of, given him that. And we've created a maintenance plan for the whole year. It was actually, we didn't create it, it was actually done from when this building was first opened and never really followed. And we kind of split it all out. It's preventative maintenance. It's things from, going in and checking the blower motors on all the air handler units, and every week, and it breaks it out into a time, and we've kind of broken it all into lighting, electrical, flooring, furniture, building exterior, roof, everything.
And they have like a check-off list?
And they've got a checklist that they're going through weekly. It gives them weekly maintenance, preventative maintenance, and actual maintenance things to do to that stuff. So I think it's going to make a big difference. They've seemed to have taken some ownership in those things, and they're the ones that if there's an issue with furniture, that's Ed's. If there's a plumbing issue, it goes to Dave or Albert. So it seems they seem to be excited about it. It gives them a clear direction. Because what was difficult with them both being custodians, I would ask the first one I saw.
They've got some ownership to it.
And now it's, okay, it's an electrical thing. So we started that in May, and I think they've really taken to keeping up.
Structure now. They know exactly what they got to do and where they're at. And then if they're doing something like if they're doing filters in here and Dave needs help, that'll help.
Help you guys too. Sure.
Yeah, well, it's easier now because you know exactly who to go to if something's not getting done.
And they're not fit, so.
Instead of going like this.
Well, and they can plan their week out. They know, okay, next week I'm going to be spending a lot of time changing filters. I'm not going to be able to do this or that. So we've got some projects for them in the summer too to fix up the front of the reserve building there. We're going to put a drain in. Get a trencher and put a drain across the front there and tie into one of the catch basins that's out in the east end. That really kind of lays in there, and then we'll probably just finish it out in rock like we did and get some landscaping in there. So.
And the landscaping, like the little courtyard, looks so nice.
Yeah.
When you walk into the building, for graduation, it's just so nice.
Yeah.
And Danielle's little thing is really nice, and once that starts growing, the whole between the two buildings looks really great.
Yeah, we got to fix that little area up there. And I think
it's great.
Between the two buildings, we're repairing two of the catch basins. If you notice, the one has a sinkhole on one side of it, so we have to fix that up. That happened the last 2 weeks ago.
Snow plowing and just some of the rain, and they put some extensions to raise those covers, and I'm not sure what quality of workmanship was done on that, but it seems to be needing some attention, so we're looking at that. Those guys are very willing to do that too.
Concerns about safety and traffic between the two buildings. I don't know if you've been in for a while.
We've not had too much of that. It's probably more so like this time of year in the summer when, once school is going because of the buses and, it stays pretty clear.
I wasn't paying attention today, and Mr. Bouchon was going, so.
It's more summertime.
It was me.
Yeah.
He assumed that you guys off.
And
What about-
I'm working on some signs.
I was just going to say that. What about the signs?
I've got some signs, and I'm going to get some order. We had quite a few left over from
Good.
pre-construction.
Now, are there signs that say which entrance to go into when people park? I know that was always the biggest confusion. When I go to events,
I got to
people
look into
search
that. We've got one that we had used before that we put on the end of the reserve building by the locker room that showed gym entrance. I'm going to change that to middle school
we need
gym
direction there
entrance.
too, like from that parking lot
Yeah.
to this parking lot to even the front of the building. People don't know where to go in. And
I'm working on that.
Good.
We've got some no parking. We're going to hit this area between with no parking anytime signs.
Good.
That includes some of the staff with parking there. We've got the dumpsters there. We've got some doorways. Then people start coming up for events, and pretty soon there's cars. We'll put some fire lane signs up. We won't make it an actual fire lane, but just to kind of reduce some of that. And again, that's going to help with the traffic flow there, then people are going to, come around. parking. So-
We spent the first week of summer maintenance in the reserve building, and they stayed in there for the whole week, got it all cleaned up.
Yeah, they
It's
did a great
nice,
job.
looks good.
So we've got that in decent shape for the start. With this last contract, we created that 3-hour position over there. It's going to take care of locker rooms, bathrooms, and
Good.
the gym, and really, they're going to be there. That's
Good.
their 3 hours. They're over there, and we'll get those halls spruced up and
Good.
get that
Good to hear.
place going too.
And
So-
then starting next week, we'll be on a 2 to 3 day rotation cleaning those locker rooms.
Good.
I have the schedule from Andy, so we'll be cleaning
Thank
those
you.
rooms.
That was a huge issue, and
Yeah.
that's going to prevent a lot
It's
of,
going to solve a lot of problems.
a lot of things, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate that. As a parent, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's a lot.
Anybody else? We got to set a date for the next week.
You want to try to get back on that second Thursday as much as you
Yeah.
can? Either, I think the 14th.
Go back to 7 or stay early?
You want to stay early? You want to stay
Stay
early?
at 5? That's up to you guys.
Is 5 good or is
14th.
Thursday,
Let me know because
second Thursday?
That's 14th.
The 14th, yeah.
14th.
Is 5 good for everybody or is that too early?
I can do either.
So
Is it causing confusion
What's
though?
the
with
date on the
moving?
second Thursday?
The second is the 14th of August. I'll try to get back to that.
I should be back, yeah, if I'm not in the...
Try to get back to that routine. That's done. I mean,
I
unless,
agree.
it makes it easier. I hate changing those around like
Right.
we did here, but it was just out of necessity for the summer.
I'll just have trouble like during football because I'm a senior
Richard
mom.
mentioned 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock. Is there a...
Jake's
See-
games will be on Thursdays.
Yeah, and during football it's going to be tough because, yeah, her
So should we just go back to 7?
7 o'clock?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's one of the...
Yeah, that'd be better for, I mean, I don't want to just me, but I'm going to be a
No,
senior
no,
mom.
that's fine.
We have the dinner.
I mean,
I'll be here.
we were doing 7 up until just a
Yeah.
couple months ago.
I mean, I like the 5 now during the summer because I'm spoiled and I like to have my evening.
So the 14th at 7?
14th and 7th.
Okay. And we have a special meeting on the 7th, correct?
What?
At the Career Center. There's something on flyers. Trestle being out of...
That's in the morning though, I can't go, I work.
Right.
That's the county administrators. I don't know that we've had any board members go to that in the past. It's mostly the administrators for all the schools in the county. And actually, they've gone to, the last couple of years, all of Columbia County too. So it's mostly building principals and...
I think that's why it's during the workday. It's like our workday.
yeah, that's just...
I might go out so I can learn. I'm available.
No.
You have to bring anything back or...
Get individual student test scores.
Yes, we look at rundown.
I'd like to hear Trestle speak. I'd just like to hear what he has to say.
You're working through two.
Yeah, just to see how that matched up against
Move to adjourn.
the ACT results.
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Yeah.
Second.
Sorry.
Mr. Daniel?
Yes.
Mr. Bowman?
Yes.
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 I get the flag in the roll call.